This section here, guys, is all about question is find the points of intersection of the given line and circle in each case. Alright? So what you can see here, if we enlarge this diagram, we could draw a circle of radius 5. So this one here is basically, isn't it x squared plus y squared equals 5 squared? The radius is what, guys? Radius squared equals 25. So what's the radius then? Radius is 5. So what you're going to notice is that that diagram of the circle has a radius going, it's a radius of 5 in every direction. Is everybody right with that? Now the other thing you could do as well is you could draw this. You could do a quick drawing of it if you wanted. You don't have to, but if you ran out of options in a test, you could always say, oh look, when x equals 0, that means y equals 7. 0, 7 is where it's going to hit the y-axis, and then when y equals 0, x equals minus 7, and you can just barely see that there, can you? In the edge of the screen, it hits it right at minus 7. So you could draw out the graph and find the 2 points of intersection that way if you wanted. That's only if you're stuck. Okay. Now, what you're going to notice here, guys, is we zoom in on this. If I extend this out a bit, you can see that there's 2 different points, isn't there? The answer should be, it's 2 sets of coordinates for the most part. So I should have 2 answers. My 2 answers should be x equals minus 3 and x equals minus 4. And the y value should be 3 and 4. Do you see that point is minus 3, 4, and see the other point is minus 4, 3. So they're the points I should be looking for when I'm doing this question. That it intersects the circle twice. Now, if you only get one answer for x, guess what happens? If you only get one answer, it means it only touches it at 1 point. If you get 2 answers, it means that the line goes straight through the circle and hits it twice. Does that make sense? 2 x values means that it hits the circle twice. Okay, or 2 different points means it hits the circle twice. So, we've seen the diagram. Now we're going to see if we can make that happen using just algebra. Okay, so without drawing it at all. Here's what you do. In all of these questions, it's what's called a simultaneous equation, 1 linear, 1 quadratic. Okay, so 1 linear, 1 quadratic. So we know the answer is minus 3, 4, and 4, 3. Let's prove it. So here's what you do. Which one's the linear, guys? The line or the circle? The line's the linear function. Pick a letter to get on its own. Which letter would you like to get on its own? Let's get x on its own because x is already positive. So you could do this 2 ways, okay? The first way you could do it is you could say x equals y minus 7. The other way you could have done it was minus y equals minus 7 minus x, I think. And then multiply both sides by minus, and you get y equals x plus 7. Both ways are acceptable. Now, once you've decided on which letter you're using, you then go to your quadratic, and what do you do with the quadratic? Sub it in. So either sub in x or y, whichever way you're doing it. I'm going to do it using I'll do it using x, okay? So instead of x, what am I going to have? Sorry, y minus 7. Now, can anybody tell me in the class, what is y minus 7 squared? Everybody says that. Yeah, everybody forgets the middle part. It's y squared minus 7y minus another 7y plus 49. Because it's the same bracket out twice. Minus y squared. Bring it over to 25. It comes a minus 25. What do you have now, guys? How many y squareds? How many y's? 14y. 49 minus 25? 24. Divided by 2. Now, factorize that. Reference number 12. Anybody? minus 4 and minus 3, and then equals 0, and then y equals y minus 4 equals 0, y minus 3 equals 0, y equals 3, or y equals 4. Is that right? Were they the two answers we're expecting for y? 3 and 4. Now what we got to do next is we got to find out the x value. So you drag this equation we used at the start all the way down with you. Bring it down towards your answers. So the x value is whatever the y value is, take away 7. So when the y value is 4, what does that mean about the x value? It'd be 4 minus 7, which is minus 3. When the y value is 3, yeah, you're right, x equals minus 4. The 2 points in question are minus 3, 4, and minus 4, 3. That makes sense? Okay. Now, we did question 3, now we're going to do question 10, and that's the last one I'll do today. Now, in question 10, if we were to draw question 10 out, what happens is this. So question 10 would look something like this here. You draw a... This radius is of radius root 40. Did you ever see that it's root 40? The radius of the circle. Why is it root 40? Because r squared equals 40, therefore r would be root 40. Put root 40 into your calculator and you can see that it's roughly 6.32. Now this is where drawing it works against you, because it's very hard to draw 6.32 on the dot, isn't it? So if I was to draw that, it'd be a radius of 6.32. I'd get my my compass and I'd draw the circle going all the way around like that, and then all the way back up again. Is that right? So you draw your circle. You could then draw your line if you wanted. You just find out where it intercepts the x and the y axis. Do you remember how to do that? You know, once again, you don't have to do this, but you can put y equals 0, can't you? And then you have 2x plus 10 equals 0. 2x equals minus 10, x equals. You chose a y value of 0, and after you chose the y value of 0, you got a x value of minus 5. Do you see where it crosses the axis? Minus 5, 0. Same deal again. If you wanted to find out where it cuts the y-axis, all you have to do is this. Just put the x value equal to 0. And what happens to 2x? If x is 0, what happens to 2x? Comes 0. And then you have y plus 10 equals 0. And then y equals minus 10. You chose an x value of 0. You were given a y value of minus 10. That's where it's on its way down to. You can't see it there because it stops at minus 6. But the line, if I continue this line all the way down, where does it hit the y-axis? Minus 10. And you could draw it, and then you can have your 2 points of interception. You could say that point there is minus 6, 2, and the other point is minus 2, minus 6. Okay? So we know our answers are going to be minus 6 and 2, and the other one is minus 2 and minus 6. Let's prove it using algebra. We don't have to draw anything. That's the whole point. We could draw it. It would take longer, but we'd get the answer. Are you listening? But this way, we can do it a different way. Now you have a choice. You can get x on its. You can get y on its own or x on its own. Which one's easier? Why is it easier? If there's a number in front of it, you're going to end up with a fraction because you have to divide both sides by 2. Always choose the one that has the number 1 or minus 1 in front of it. Is that right? So move the 2x and the 10 over to your side, and what happens? Y equals 2x minus 2x minus 10. What are we going to do in the quadratic formula now? For which letter? So here's the tricky part. What's minus 2x minus 10 squared? Don't try and do it in one go. I wouldn't do it in one go either. That's what I'd say you do. Write it out. Do that extra line. Now we can do it. Now we're in a position to do this. 2x by 2x, or minus 2x by minus 2x. 4x squared. Minus 2x times minus 10. Minus 10 by minus 2x. Minus 10 by minus 10. Bring out a 40. Now you're in business. 5x squared. 20x plus 20x. And then 100 minus 40. Divide by what number? Divide by 5. What's the reference number? 12. And 12 breaks up into? I'll go for 2 and 6 because I want them to add to be 8. It's alright. 2 answers, guys. So what are the 2 answers? X equals minus 2 and x equals minus 6. Very much like, if I have it here. There it is there, isn't it? Minus 6 for the x value and minus 2 for the other x value. So we're bang on track regards our answers. We have to find the y value, because if you read the language of the questions say points of intersection. Points of intersection means an x value and a y value twice. So what you do is you bring down your formula here. See the y equals minus 2x minus 10. Bring it down to the very bottom. And here's what you're going to do. You finish this question when you have 2 points. That's the only time you finish this question. So it's y equals minus 2 times something minus 10. What's going to be the something for the first time around? Minus 6. Minus 2 by minus 6? 12 minus 10? 2. Minus 6? 2. Okay. Repeat procedure. Except this time what? What number are we going to use this time? Use minus 2 this time. And you're going to get 4 minus 10, which is minus 6. Minus 2, minus 6, and there's your 2 points of intersection.